To you with another session of Real Talk with Tammi B and Company, the show where we are recording live so that you amazing people can engage in the conversation with us via the YouTube chat. So if you are watching via another platform, I invite you to jump on over to YouTube and join us in the conversation. So, hold on a second. I look like I'm having some technical difficulties because it doesn't look like I'm streaming to YouTube. Okay, there it is. Okay. All right. All right. Perfect. All right. We are streaming on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, please, sir, please, ma'am, please feel free to drop us questions and or comments throughout this conversation. And before we get started, I want to ask, if you are not part of our community, please join us by subscribing, as we are here weekly at 7:30 p.m. Eastern with new content, to which I am always extremely grateful for you guys being with us. And we are also on the other side of a new year. So happy new year to you all. Thank you so much. I hope you guys had an amazing new year, amazing start to your year. And hey, listen, 2026 is we're about to bring in some great things. That's what this talk is about. Usually this time of year, I would do a vision board party. And I was talking to Miss Sylvia and I said, I don't want to do a virtual vision board party this year. I want to have a conversation around vision, and she suggested the law of action, which I'm like, yes, let's have a talk around that, because it also ties into vision, because so often people set their vision but they don't take inspired action. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And also, just for those who are familiar with the show, our girl Cola E the Great, she is no longer with us. We didn't get a chance to properly wish her farewell, but she's off to some new endeavors. So we're wishing her much love and success in all that she's going to do. Now, I do have returning what I'm going to call champions with us this evening. It is the first Wednesday of the month. So I have the returning queen herself, Miss Sylvia. Stand back. Hello, Miss Sylvia.
Greetings to all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And we also have returning champion who slid in under the radar, Mr. Van Dorn Hennett. Hello, Mr. Van Dorn.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you. Yes.
Greetings.
Thank you for having me back. It's a joy to be here.
It is a joy and a pleasure to have you. I look so forward to our conversation. And so before we jump right into our conversation, I do want to wish those who were born in the month of January, I want to wish you all happy birthday. And we weren't here actually for the last 2 weeks, so I did not get to shout out the Capricorns. So shouts out to all the Capricorns. So if you're a Capricorn or if you're born in the month of January, shout us out in the chat so we can acknowledge you. And also, I know Capricorns subscribe to the motto, they like to start and end the year. So listen, I hope you guys are ended it on a good note, and you're going into the new year on a good note. So, as always, I want to start, well, not as always. Miss Sylvia, how was your holiday? How was your holiday season, ma'am? I saw you took a trip to Florida. I'm assuming you did an AI picture that you sent us.
Now listen, I had the most fun with my granddaughter because knowing me, she knows all about AI and all of that. So what we did, I told her, you do an AI photo of me 20 years younger, and I want to have blonde hair. Well, she did that photo. We sent it to all of my friends. The phone was jumping. So she did me a new profile on Google too. It's like a cartoon. So here's what I said. And that's the profile that I want you to use when I transition.
Okay. All right.
I love it. I love it. I thought of it. I said, now wait, that looks like Miss Sylvia. I'm
But I
like, they do the most with AI. They do the most. Oh my God. Hey, Miss P.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, welcome. Happy New Year.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Van Dorn, how was your holiday season, sir?
I had a beautiful, quiet time, and I was home alone, so I was uh, able to uh, stay in the zone and enjoy a lot of time to myself. Yeah, it was beautiful. Thank you. And how about you?
Mine was quiet too. I think my first week I was really busy. Oh, I should have had a picture. I played Mrs. Santa at a Christmas toy drive, and it was so fun. It was so fun. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna be a little modest, like Miss. No, not that's not even modest when I say it. I think I have a little ego. Like Miss Santa was the showstopper. Like the people, even when Santa went to the bathroom, and I was like, "Well, y'all want to wait for Santa?" They like, "No, we want to take a picture with Miss Santa." I was like, "Okay, here I am." So that was the highlight. Aside from my son, he's a vegetarian, and he cooked the most amazing veggie vegan meal. Like I never had mashed potatoes made with butternut squash versus the cheese and the dairy. And I was skeptical. He was skeptical because that was his first time testing it, but it was good.
All right.
Like he spent like 12 hours even after working overnight, like making sauces from scratch. And listen, my child did it. So I
Is
had
he
a
a chef?
very peaceful.
Is he a chef?
He should be. I told
Okay.
him, boy, you need to open a restaurant.
Okay.
I said I'll become a vegetarian full throttle if it tastes like this. Although I'm not far from it. I'm on a 20-day detox right now. And it's the Daniel fast, and then I'm also taking supplements with it. So I think it's about to propel me there. But yes. Miss P, how was your holiday?
Very, it was very, very enjoyable. I spent time with family and friends and just enjoyed every day I was off work.
That made two of
Can you
us.
hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
I had to process that because that made two of us.
oh, yeah, I did. I enjoyed every moment.
Yes, that is a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. Well, we're glad to have you back. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to the chat. And listen, just a little tidbit. Did you guys know that January is considered to be National Blood Donors Month, which is a nationwide observation in the United States that honors blood donors and highlights the critical ongoing need for donations, especially during the winter's cold flu seasons and with holiday disruption and the supplies are low. So this is to support those that are in, dealing with cancer, patients that need surgery, emergencies like that. So that's what that particular observation is for. And I just wanted to share. So if anybody has thought about it and supported, there is a month honoring you for your work. So shouts out to you all who participate in that. Now, I thought provoking question for tonight, and I definitely want to ask this panel this because you guys have so much wisdom to share. Have you ever had a moment of clarity or an epiphany? And if so, do you care? Can you please share what that was? And I also posed that question to the chat as well. So if you want to answer that question in the chat, please feel free to do so because I will read some of your responses. So have you ever had a moment of clarity or an epiphany? If so, care to share what that was? and I'll jump in and answer first. I just recently learned how valuable crystals are. Like, like setting up crystal grids in your home, how crystals can be used for protection against negative energy. So that was I just had a whole a lesson on crystals just recently. So that was an epiphany for me because I had no idea.
Well, I'd like to be the first one to respond to that question. Um, Something interesting happened to me today, or maybe this evening. Um, and I would like to add, epiphanies are like commonplace for me. If I don't have an epiphany a day, something's wrong. Okay. I'm not kidding. So some beautiful insight fell on me earlier, and it's been bubbling to the surface for some time now. But it looks like this. Every time an individual experiences what I will call a feel good, um, an I love you, going out to someone, um, that touches all of creation.
Mm.
And that also touches all of life across the whole continuum called space time. Okay. From forever ago to forever into the future. So from forever into the past and forever into the future, whatever kind of feel good experience that we have, especially if it feels like generosity of spirit, like what we conveniently call love and what have you, that's touching all of creation. So, and I would say that that's today's epiphanies, which bubble to the surface, even though it does attempt to bubble to the surface. Today it was crystallized in a moment, where that was like, oh yeah, of course.
Wow, I love that. I love
And I will say that, like Van Dorn, I have an epiphany almost every day. Most of my epiphanies are around words,
Oh,
and and the words that for some reason come to me, and I break them down, and then I'll have to go and do research on them and find out why did this word strike my interest that way. And so today the epiphany came around the word that has to do with female, and it was the word hysterectomy. And
mm,
I'm like, why is that word his in a condition that affects women? And so what I found out about this word is that the hyster actually is the root word in Greek for hysteria,
yeah.
and that women, they would remove the womb of a woman because they considered her hysterical. Probably, now I can't say this is for sure because I hadn't looked up, that just came to me. Probably because she was going through another condition with a man's name, with the male connotation in it, which is called menopause.
Mhm.
And women used to be seen as going crazy during that time. It's come to, be more accepted among women now, but in earlier times, yeah, I find it interesting that a lot of our maladies have that male connotation to it.
Okay.
Wow, now that was truly an epiphany right there. That was really an epiphany. Oh my gosh. Miss Sylvia, what you got?
I guess I'm not as locked into epiphanies as you guys. Maybe I don't have enough time or didn't take enough time today, but I don't have one.
Oh, it could be
Sylvia,
clarity. It could be
Sylvia,
clarity on something.
Yeah,
wait a minute, wait a
it
minute,
didn't
wait a
have to
minute.
be today.
Sister Sylvia, are you trying to tell us that you do not have an epiphany orientation?
Oh. Well, what is the definition of epiphany?
All right. Hold on for a second.
Right?
Pause it.
Look, I think an epiphany is like an enlightened moment, but we gonna find out real quick.
Well, within the Christian church, there's a season of Epiphany.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know exactly what they do during that time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a sudden, profound realization or intuitive grasp of the essence or meaning of something. That's why I said I thought it was.
Yeah, but from the Judeo-Christian orientation, the manifestation of Christ to the Gentiles is represented by the Magi. That's in Matthew. The festival commemorating the Epiphany on January the 6th. And then the other one, the manifestation of a divine or supernatural being. And the last one is what you said, a moment of sudden revelation or insight. So anyway, I have forgotten those relationships to the Judeo-Christian tradition in regards to the word epiphany. But there you have it. Yes.
Sylvia has a lot of epiphanies. She just can't think of one right now.
Exactly. She's loaded with clarity.
Yeah.
Well, can you all go ahead and speak on it? Because I'm going to pass.
They did. They answered. So hold on. I want to acknowledge official May Day glow, peace and balance and wholeness to all involved into the awesome invitation from the transcendent Van Dorn. We have a greetings from Diane Westmoreland. Greetings, Queen. Much love to the fellow Earth signs. And indeed, I can say I have experienced something like that. I recognize all is self, yes, and how powerful that energy is in recognizing that. That was truly an epiphany, yes, and loving the etymology. Great comments, yes. I agree. Okay, all right. No longer shall we delay. So now, Miss Sylvie, do you want me to still share about, are we going to talk about that bill, or you want to go ahead and get into the law of action?
Whatever you think is best.
I say let's get into the law of action. We can talk about that another time. So
okay.
Before you start, I want to get your thoughts on this, because this is, I asked AI, since we mentioned that a moment ago, I asked them what is the law of action in motion. So I want to share this overview. It said the law of action has two main meanings. In physics, it's Newton's third law, stating every action has an equal and an opposite reaction, which is action/reaction. And when I think of that, I think of polarity, because everything has the negative and the positive. And then in metaphysics/manifestation, it's the principle that you must take inspired action, aligned steps, not just think, to achieve goals, moving beyond mere attraction to tangible effort. Both interpretations emphasize that doing is essential, either physical interaction, which is physics, or intentional effort, which is manifestation to create results. Any comments on that before you dive in? Did that do a good overview, or do AI need to improve their overview on that?
Because my 45 years as a teacher, I'm a little bit different. I like to come across from within with my definitions and stuff like that. But basically, that was a kind of dead definition. That was cool.
Okay.
That was a cool definition.
That's why I presented it. So, like, if I was a person that went to look that up and that's what I got, is it really helping me? You know what I'm saying?
We're going to find out, because that's part of the talk tonight. I wouldn't dare go into the conversation without first talking about what is inspired action. And based on, I'm using 2 books, and I'll give you those books in case you want to get them to further enhance the lessons. But an inspired action is an action that comes from your gut. Something deep inside makes you want to do something. And so they said an action that comes from your gut feeling. According to the authors that I've used, this is the least used law of all of the 12 universal laws. the law of action. I understand that because to me, action, you got to have some courage to go ahead and take that action. So it is considered by these particular authors to be the least used. The action we take must match our intention. And for example, if your intention is to get a new home, okay, what is the action you should take? What action should you take? You want a new home, you want a new house. Okay, you can go and look at some new homes in your neighborhood. You can call a realtor, but some people will look at their bank account. We're talking about spiritual things here. We're not talking about logic. So an inspired action, I want a new home. Well, that came from the universe. Well, that means I'm going to get out here and I'm going to call me a realtor. And you begin the process, and they call it the two-step. That's the step you take, and the second step, let the universe handle the rest of it. Okay? So you don't look at your bank account. Trust the universe. You take the first step, and the universe will do the rest. And I'm just reading this from some of the excerpts. People fail to manifest their desires because they will not make a decision to do something. They just keep them up here or in here, and they won't do anything. So the two books that I use, they're very easy to read. The 12 Universal Laws by David A. Horn. And this one is 12 Universal Laws of the Universe by M. Singh, S-I-N-G-H. And the chapters are very succinct, very short, so they're easy to read. So what I wanted to do was talk about some personal experiences that I've had, or maybe our panelists have had, with putting this law into action.
Miss Sylvia, before you do that, I want to drop in the chat the name of those books so that if somebody come in behind, they can read it. I heard 12 Universal Laws.
And that one is by David A-H-E-A-R-N.
Hold on. David A-H
E-A-R-N.
Okay, David Ahern. Okay, and what was the next one?
12 Laws of the Universe.
Okay.
And his first name is pretty long, so I use the initial M, and his last name S-I-N-G-H.
M. Singh. Okay. Okay, carry on.
Okay, so some personal experience having used and understood that I was using the laws of the universe. But at the time, I was using the laws that I had gotten from the Bible. So I wanted a new home, a new house. I didn't have a job, no income, but I had read that ask and it shall be given. So I said, well, I presented my intention. And what did I do? I got my daughter and we started looking in the neighborhood and we saw this house. So I called a realtor, and this was in the 80s. So the prices were quite different. This was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The address was 75 West Duval Street. And then I looked at the price and I said, this is ridiculous. This is too low. This price is too low for a 3-story Victorian house. So anyway, I called my mother and I told her, I found this house at 75 Duval Street. They only wanted $33,000 for the house. I want to see it. So my mother, she called the realtor. And the realtor verified that the price was $33,000. So I said, oh, they got the wrong address. So when the realtor came, I told my mother, you can go up on that 75 Duval. I'm going to wait across the street because I know this is the wrong address. When the realtor came, unlocked the door, I was shocked. I ran across the street. I went in. I said, oh, what's wrong? Something has to be wrong with this house. The house was immaculate. Wall-to-wall carpet on all 3 floors. There was nothing wrong with that house. So, make a long story short, I said, I have to have money to get a house. I was doing a proposal for a guy, and I told him, I went in, I was doing the word processing, and I told him, I saw this house, and this house was really nice, but I don't have a job, but it was a nice house and a nice price. And he looked at me, he said, you don't have a job? Yes, you do. I said, where? He said, you work for me. He said, bring the papers in, I'll fill them out. I brought the papers in, he filled them out. Long story short, went through the process, boom. We got the house, we inside the house, jumping and clapping. I said, wait a minute, y'all. Who gonna pay the mortgage on this? You don't have no, my mother, she was retired. I didn't have a job. 3 days later, I got a call. Sylvia, why didn't you tell me you didn't have a job? Call this number. It was the executive director to a social service program in Philadelphia, and I got the job over PhDs.
Wow.
Okay. Question, please. Sylvia, I don't know your life story. Are you going to tell me that you've always lived a charmed life?
I'll tell you, from that day when that happened, I did it all the time. That's how I got to Africa, the whole 9.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, it isn't every day that I get to hear somebody tell that kind of life story. So that is absolutely
right.
beautiful. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
But once you do it, it works. You won't stop.
Yeah.
But I can't convince you. You got to do it.
Yes.
So
it sounds to me like you took the inspired actions when you saw it. You pretty much, like, did you like write down anything? Because I know, they say write. So your inspired action was, let's call the realtor, let's go see, which is good. Wow, I love that.
And that's not the only one. I don't know if you've heard of Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan, one of the 100 most famous Black men in America. He was the senior pastor of Zion Baptist Church in Philadelphia. He started the Opportunities Industrialization Center. One center was successful, went to 110 programs across the nation and in Africa. Let me tell you what he did. One day, I met him in high school. My sister and I, Zion Baptist was the only church that had a gymnasium. So we played basketball. So we would go there to play 21 or practice. And so we were in the church playing 21, and Reverend Sullivan walked in. He's 6'5". And we said, come on, Reverend Sullivan, let's play 21. He said, no. I have to tell you guys something. I got to tell you what I'm getting ready to do. We said, look, Reverend Sullivan, you can tell us after we play 21. He said, no, let me tell you. He said, I have a vision. I'm getting ready to do something great. And he always said great. He was from West Virginia. He never said great. So we said, yeah, Reverend Sullivan, but can we play 21? So he said, let me tell you, this is what I'm going to do. And he said, I'm getting ready to start a program to help young people get jobs. And da-di-da-di-da-di. And he went on and on and on. Long story short, he put it into action. We were able to see his vision come into fruition. Like I said, that program went from one automotive training programs in North Philadelphia. It went to 110 centers across the West, Africa, London. He had a gut feeling and he acted on it. And my
So,
sister later helped him write that program. Mhm.
wow. So, what would you say to the person that has the gut feeling and they talk themselves out of it? Because I think that that's what causes a lot of people to get stuck on this journey too. They may feel greatness and they may sometimes make the mistake of sharing it with others and allow the outside voices to influence their decision. What
Okay, but here's what I would say to that. Number one, don't talk to your friends about any decision that you have gotten inspired to do. Don't talk to them. Number two, if you're really serious, can't nobody talk you out of it. But I would suggest I wouldn't share it. I shared it with my 10-year-old daughter because children are pure. I shared it with my mother because I knew she had my back. So you don't share information like that with others to get their opinion. Just do it. It's just that simple. You just do it. What do you have to lose? You don't have anything to lose.
Right. I agree. Miss P, Mr. Van Doren, anything you guys want to say? And I want to read this comment because I like the spirit will always meet you halfway. However, our halfway is as far as we can go. So do your best and activate your faith. And I agree with that. Because in fact, I said that this morning on a prayer call that I was on. Like, as far as you see yourself, that's as far as you're gonna go, and it's time to expand. So, Miss P, Mr. Van Doren, either one of you want to chime in on anything that Miss Sylvia just said?
Well, what I realized as I move on in life is that it seemed as though I created things easier when I wasn't conscious of what I was doing. And that's the truth. Yeah, I remember a trip I created. I had no idea of what, that we were even capable of creating our reality to that extent. I would just say I wanted to do something, and the next thing I knew, it was done. I created a trip one year, and my cousin had asked me to go with her to the Bahamas, and I'm like, I don't have any money to go. I said, but I'm going next year, and I really meant that. And this is where I always have a question about inspired action.
Okay.
I think mine was more from really meaning it when I said it. And I said it and I forgot about it. But lo and behold, the next year I was in the Bahamas and I still didn't have any money and had a great time.
You detach yourself from the outcome. You detach yourself from the outcome. Go ahead, Ms.
One thing she said was, and I meant it. That was it.
I did. That
was the intention. That was it. That's what did it.
Yeah.
She meant it.
That. And I remember when I wanted to go back to finish college, I was living in Cincinnati at the time. And by then I was like 28 years old. Still didn't know anything about creating my own reality, but I applied to the school at the university where I wanted to go. And when I went in to interview, this woman was very impressed with me. So my first year, I needed financial aid. And a brother was in charge of that. So when I went into his office, he asked me, how did you get into this program? This waiting list is a year long. But I got in just like that.
Wow.
And that's how things happen sometimes. The most recent, well, not the most recent, but within the last 4 years, I had a big life change. And so while I was staying with this friend of mine, I'm writing in my notebook at night how I want my life to look in the next at least 6 months, but it happened in 3. So by then I did know. So I'm writing down everything that I wanted to be because I had already seen how it could be. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going back. I'm going forward. I wrote down where I wanted to live, that I needed work, um, all kinds of stuff. So one day I'm unpacking my journals or just reading through them, and I read everything I had written down. I had everything that was on that list.
Mm. Cola
Everything.
has shared a testimony like that as well.
Yeah.
Down to the T. Wow.
Hmm.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful, Mr. Van Dorn.
My story is a little different. I'm reminded of how I told myself that if my father's father could own his own company and be successful, that I could be successful in my life as a visual artist. And so I had that seed form of a thought in my psyche that was driving me. The inspiration was, well, if my grandfather can do it, I can do it. And I have educators in my family on my mother's and father's side. Not that I grew up to be an educator, but I think of myself as an educator in general, simply because of what I'm doing is in essence educative. But the success that I have had, I believe, comes as a result of me locking in on this notion that if my grandfather can do this, so can I. So that, I will say, has been some fuel in my engine, so to speak. And but I've been driven all of my life to create what we conveniently call works of art. And over the last 25 years or more, the focus has been sharpened to understand that the geometry that I'm working with has to do with consciousness. And that's too much of a story to get into. But I simply want to lay that in front of the audience that we can find inspiration in a multiplicity of ways. And one of my inspirations was that simple fact that my grandfather was successful with his own business. And I simply use that as a model in my psyche. And it has been on for decades. I mean, I started when I was in my early 20s and I'm 72 now. So I've been running like this for 50 years. Yeah.
Nice. I love it. I think my grandparents was a big inspiration to me as well. Um, for sure. Um, I do want to I have this question that keeps floating in my head, Miss Sylvia, and I was listening, but I want to go ahead and I really want to dive into this law of action. Can you tell me what's the difference between the law of action and the law of attraction?
Okay, let me stick with the law of action, because if you don't take an action, you are not going to get an attraction.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Van Dorn.
Sylvia, let me interject something. One of my favorite sayings is every thought is an act of creation. So we're all creating. We're all in a creative mode 24/7. The vast majority of humankind doesn't recognize that they are in an act of creation as they think. That old saying from long ago, as a man thinketh. Well, it's very simple. Every thought is an act of creation. So one of the stories that I've witnessed in my psyche is that if we say something like an affirmation, and then if we have a thought that negates that, then the thought is an act of creation, just as the positive thought is an act of creation and the negative thought is an act of creation. So we oftentimes cancel whatever good may come our way simply because we walk over it with a negative thought or a thought contrary to what we say we want. And I've witnessed this in my experience numerous times. Many people can identify with this. If they're choosing to be even moderately awake in the dream, people can say, oh yes, I had this beautiful idea, this beautiful thought, this desire. But if they are paying attention to how their mind works, they can see how they negated that in one way or another, or either they let someone else's thought, a friend, a relative, or whatever, negate that, and they accepted that negation, and therefore their positive thought was canceled with what we can conveniently call a negative thought. So anyway, I just wanted to speak to that idea that we are always creating 24/7. Whatever we're thinking, whatever we're feeling, are acts of creation.
Yes,
Okay.
and I'm go ahead, Miss Sylvia, because I have so many thoughts in my head around what you just said, but I want Miss Sylvia to get her notes out to us.
There is a multimillionaire who is 51, I think, 51, 54 years old. That's Billy Carson. He happens to be an African American. And he came up with a formula. And that formula is a conscious thought plus action equals manifestation. That's Billy Carson. And he even has it on a t-shirt, CT plus A equals M. And when he talks about how he went from abject poverty in Florida, you know that little place, that little city I told you about, Opalacha or something, Florida.
Opalaka,
Yeah.
that's by Miami.
And it's just abject poverty there. That's where he was. That's where he came out of. He's now a multimillionaire. Mm-hmm. And if you get a chance, just Google Billy Carson.
I'm familiar with him.
If you want to be encouraged in terms of you don't have to have any logic or any of that. Just trust the universe. Have an intention, act on it, and the universe will provide. Let's Google him up. Listen to his story. How at age 13, when his dad said, look, everybody in this house has to get a job or produce some income because you got to pay this mortgage and you got to pay for this food. And he was 13 at the time. Oh, wow. Long story short, by the time he was 14, he was making $40,000 more money than his parents. Okay. But he had an intention. This was my intention. I'm going to sell my toys. I know I'm not supposed to go out of this block or off this porch, but I'm going off this porch. I'm going to sell that's the only way I can sell my toys. And he just believed nobody would bother him. And he started off knocking on doors. I don't want to ask you for money. I do have these toys that I want to sell. Just give me anything you can. And that became a business. You know, it went on to other things, 14 years old. Okay.
Oh, wow.
But one of the things that these authors talk about, inspired action versus ego-driven action. There's an inspired action and there's an ego-driven action. And I thought this was very interesting. So I wanted to give an example of inspired action is inspired by a supreme power that comes from within us. Makes you feel wonderful, although there may be challenges. Inspired action comes from a position of clarity and vision. You got to know what you want in order to set an intention to get that. Sometimes appears out of nowhere or doesn't make sense. You get an urge to get in touch with a particular person, a gut feeling that elicits strong emotional feelings. These are inspired actions. Comes straight from the heart and can be a spear. It can be at the spur of the moment. Inspired action has a moral value. Now, what's the difference between an inspired action and an ego-driven action? The ego-driven action is based on fear. And most of us can't get started. This is from me. Most of us, I feel, can't get started because we're in false evidence appearing real. We're in fear. That's why we can't even make a decision, because we are so into our heads and thinking about the material that we can't get spiritual and believe that there's a power within us that supersedes all of that stuff. Okay, so based on fear, ego-driven action is based on fear, wanting to be seen. These are ego-driven actions. Actions taken out of desperation, that's an ego-driven action. A desire to prevail over someone or something, ego-driven action. To be recognized or get pats on the back, that's an ego-driven action. Actions motivated by scarcity, I'm going to do this because I'm scared, or disappointed. So this author gave a difference between an inspired, so you understand the difference between an inspired action and an ego-driven action. I prefer the inspired action, but a lot of us are driven by our ego, and it doesn't always pan out positively. Okay. Any comments?
You know, Van Dorn was talking about earlier how we can cancel out our affirmations with negative talk and negative affirmations. And it just reminded me, because I listen to people at work every day talk, and I have to check my own thinking and speaking. But I have a coworker, and we used to park beside each other just about every day. He had this tiny little sports car, and I drive an SUV. And he used to say, Penelope, you're gonna crash into me one day. I thought you were going to hit my car. He said this almost every day. One day he comes to work, and guess what? He had been hit by a big truck, an 18-wheeler, and totaled that little car. Fortunately, he did not get hurt. And the first thing that came to my mind is he has been creating this for a long time.
Well, and that just shows you that we create our situation. Every situation that we're in, we created it through how we thought, how we moved, everything. We created this. So we can't blame anyone but moi, okay? Because we create our own reality. Now, I like to reiterate again some inspired actions, because that's what we want. And they're considered the best. And it says, you can't wait to get started. Like if you get this unction, do it. Don't mess around and, because that's procrastination. If you get an inspired unction to do something, do it right then and there. Time seems to fly while taking the actions that are inspired. You just seem to enjoy it. You never get tired when it's an inspired action. You never get tired. The soul is driving the action, not the mind. Most of us, when we want to do something, the first thing we're going to do is start thinking about it logistically. Now, how can I get this new car? I don't have enough money. I don't have any credit. Oh yeah, I got a car, and I've told Penelope, I got a car, and my credit was bad as Jesse James. And I got a brand new car. Putting this into action. Okay. So the soul is driving the action, not the mind. May require stepping outside of your comfort zone. I would say most of the time for me, it was stepping outside the comfort zone, but I ain't have anything to lose. I wasn't going to lose my life. I wasn't going to lose any money. I wasn't going to lose what? So why not? Okay, go on and do it. Okay. The concept when it's inspired is exciting. You feel excited about it. Comes with amazing energy. You should always act now, because timing is never ideal when you get these inspired actions. And it keeps saying, act now for the best results. Now, now, now. Because if we keep putting it off, you're scared. That's the bottom line. You're fearful. You're afraid it's not going to work. Okay. Inspired action means stepping outside of the box. Taking inspired action boosts your motivation. Taking inspired action is being clear. You have to be clear on what your objective is. Can't be willy-nilly. And those are some of the suggestions. And it describes inspired being the best. And I saw your face, Tammy.
Well, no, because okay, think about what you said. That is so true, because a lot of people say they want something, but then like you're saying though, Mr. Van Doren said the thoughts will come and cancel it out. But the scripture in James said, don't be like a double-minded man, unstable. Because when you're unstable and if you asking wavering, then how do you expect your request to come to fruition if you're not even clear about what it is you want? So it's important that you set clear intentions and like you said, stay firm on it, follow the inspired action. And I like what you said when you over summarized Miss B. She meant it. So you gotta mean it in a sense. To be clear. So I like what you just said. Go ahead. Mr. Van Doren, you have anything you want to add into this?
No, just, the thought is the action, and the action comes after the thought, and no action, no results, and no physical action, no results. So the thought can, manifest in our psyche, but if we don't take, and somebody said it a moment ago, the time is now. The time to act on a thought is now. Not, sometimes we're told, sometimes we're guided. You need to wait 3 days, 3 months, or whatever. And that's all in divine order also. But act on the inspirations and let the ego self, let the pedestrian self get out of the way. Okay.
So talk about that. So when it's already here in our psyche, the term alignment, talk about alignment, because that's also powerful in the manifestation process as well.
Yes. When you say alignment, what do you mean?
Because it said that, like, if, like, say for instance, you want that house and you taking the inspired thoughts, but you also maybe that's where you're coming into play with the action, because the action is putting you into alignment with your desire.
When you decide that you want the house, go get a realtor and go through the process. Just that simple. Okay. Don't even think about alignments, and a part of the alignment is going to the realtor.
Okay. Mr. Van Doren?
No, I'm laughing because, I'm saying, well, it doesn't have to work just like that for everybody. You know what I mean? That worked for you that way, and that's beautiful.
It'll work for you too.
Okay, cool. Well, all I can say is this: with no action, no results. No action, no positive results. It's a very simple formula. There has to be an action. You can be inspired until the end of time, but with no action, no results. Very simple formula. Billy Carson, I hadn't heard that equation before, but that's a beautiful equation. Yes.
I like that equation too. In fact, I may have you give it to me again so I can drop it in the chat. I like that. Okay. Go ahead, Miss Sylvia.
You want me to give it to you now?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Conscious thought plus action equals manifestation. And on his t-shirt, he has CT plus A equals M.
That really is beautiful.
And he has a hat. He has a cap that has it on there too. Okay. And if you go on his website, you can get it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I dropped that in the chat so people can remember that because I like that.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're doing that, Tammy, because his story is so encouraging. I mean, he came from zero. I mean, that show anybody. The law works for everybody. There's no
It
prejudice.
does.
The universe is not prejudice.
Mm-mm. There's a scripture that says that the sun shines on the just and the unjust.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who we are.
That's right.
The universe works for all of us. It does. I mean, if you're a murderer, a thief, it works for you.
That's
Ooh,
why
Miss
you have so
T.
many successful thieves
Yeah.
in your
That's right.
government, running your
Yeah.
Exactly.
government.
Yeah, that
That's
you know
right.
what? That's a whole nother can of worms because that that right there, yeah, it's hard to get people to really understand that because
They set
especially
an intention. They set an intention. They
yeah,
set a goal and they put it into action
Yeah.
and it works. So we have to set our goals, put it into action, and it will manifest.
amen. And I like this. That is absolutely right. Official Mayday. The universe does not communicate in good and bad, and that's true. We're in an all-inclusive universe. It doesn't know yes or no, and that becomes the problem. And then you'll have some folks looking at like, well, why is good things happening to bad people and bad things happening to good people?
They need to mind their business and business their
Ah,
mind. And business their mind. Like Dr. Sirius B said, mind your business and business your mind.
Mhm.
Concentrate on your goals, your intentions, your objectives.
I couldn't agree more. Look. Okay, so I like it. Okay, I like this. Jamal W. Like it or not, action wins. Period. Prayer, politeness, and political correctness will not beat planning, organization, and consistency. Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. All right, that was good. All right, Miss Sylvia, carry on. It looked like we lost Mr. Van Dorn. I hope he'll be back.
Yeah, I hope he knows how to come back. Just start all over. Because that happens to me it used to happen all the time. Okay. Now, this one I put a star beside it. Forced action comes from the mind. Forced action comes from the mind. Here's some examples. Comes from rational intellect, accompanied by a negative feeling. You have a threat of failure, a lack of confidence, fear of rejection, feeling of being out of sync with the universe. And you try to you can't do things if you feel like you're out of sync or I'm scared or you gotta have confidence. Instead of letting things happen, one tries to figure out the outcome. When you get an intention, my intention is to have my whole house renovated for under $20,000. When I set that intention, I'm not going to try to figure out how it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. When you try to figure out how it's going to happen, you're using your mind. You're not allowing the universe to act in your behalf. You'll never figure out the outcome. That's not your job.
Right.
It's not our job. Forced kind of action is an action where you'll feel it is tiresome. You have low energy. You don't enjoy doing it. You doing a forced action then, like going to work, working for somebody else, 9 to 5. Do you feel happy? I'm going to be at work tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and I'm going to stay there till 5. Oh, I'm so happy.
Really?
Okay. Okay, some important considerations, and then I'm going to end it up with this. And I'm laughing because I'm laughing because I've done this. I did it when I was much younger, before I even knew about the laws of the universe, but I was operating in the laws of the universe using the principles that I found in the Bible. They were the laws of the universe.
Yeah.
So I wasn't just going to church, getting dressed up so I could be seen. I was studying every single week those principles. And I said, if so and so could walk around a place and a wall could fall down, I can walk around this wall and it'll fall down. We're the same. But what I was doing at that time, I was in church, but I was putting universal laws into practice. Okay. Then later on, I found out. Now I'm about to get kicked off. I'll be back.
Yeah, I got the notification. I got the notification. Miss P, any comments that you have?
Oh wow, we lost Sylvia too.
Yeah, you lost everybody.
Okay, she'll be back.
Well, one of the thoughts that I have in all this, and this is why what I'm thinking, like, so what I'm getting out of this is the scripture, faith without works is dead. Like, in other words, if you have you have the faith, you have the belief, but then there's still some work that's required. Because a lot of people believe, and I guess I would like Miss Sylvie to hear and get her comments on this. A lot of people think that, hey, if I set the intention, it's out there and they don't have to do nothing. So I guess my question would be like, she's back. Okay. So I was saying to Miss P while we for space and time, I'm thinking about the scripture, faith without works is dead. And so, because a lot of, people have been, when you think about that, you're thinking, okay, well, if I have the faith and I believe, that's what I need to do. When Hebrews is saying that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. However, but then it also comes in with the faith without works. So I guess when you tie that into what you're saying, we really got to be moving, because and I guess the question become, how do we know when to move and sometimes when to stand still? Or is there
whenever you get the unction to do something, do it right then and there. I'll reiterate, I've been saying that all night. Faith without works, belief without an action, you're not going to get anything. It's dead. Your belief without the works, nothing happens. That's what that scripture means. Faith without works is dead. If you don't put up action behind it, it's going to die. That's what it means. Oh. And those are the principles that I used when I was young to get that house with no job, to get that car with no credit. I used these principles that I saw in the Bible, which were the universal laws. Yeah, it's simple.
And you don't never really hear about the universal laws. In fact, I just learned about.
You don't have to. I didn't have to for it to work.
It's operating whether you know it or not. That's the thing about them.
You don't even have to know they exist,
right,
for them to work.
Exactly. And Mr. Van Dorn is not able to. It's not letting him back on. So
tell him he has to start all over like he did when he first tried to get on, and he'll come back on. He just has to go back to his email, hit that link again, and he'll come back on. Okay. But I don't know why. I never tried to, in my head, make this harder than it was. I never did that. I just believed. When I went to church, I believed that the Bible was the truth. And so because I believed it was the truth, I operated in the principles. And that's what I studied, the principles that I saw. give and it shall be given unto you. And I would do that. I would give, what they call a tithe, although I don't necessarily adhere to some of those ways they put things today. But I followed those principles and they worked. They worked. But most of us do not go back, and we don't study the Bible. We listen to somebody else teach the principles from the Bible. We don't study it ourselves, and we don't try and see if this really works. Me, I was a skeptic. So if that book said this was supposed to happen, then okay, I'm gonna see if it does. I'm gonna put this into action because I want to see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm getting out of here. That was just my personality. But it worked for me. Instead of letting things happen, one tries to figure out the outcome. That's the worst thing you can do.
And I think that's what happened with Miss P when she said that when she said I'm going to Bahamas, she let go of the attaching herself to the outcome. And that's where I've been told that that's what you really are supposed to do in the manifestation process. You set the intention and you don't attach yourself to the outcome.
Absolutely.
And I think where a lot of people go wrong is they're so focused on having it a certain way, and they attach themselves to the outcome that they don't even allow the universe to really work. But even though the scripture says that God is able to do exceeding abundantly above anything we can ask or think, and a lot of times
we don't believe it. We don't believe it.
Yeah.
We don't believe that God is able to do anything above what you can think of. We don't believe it. Because if you believed it, you would go ahead and do to do. Most of the things that we set up in church and hear, we don't believe it, but it just makes us feel good. Because if you believe it, you'll try it. If you believe that these principles work, you'll try them.
I guess for me, the other part of that is this. And I mean, I'm still a work in progress and will be until I make my transition from here.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact for me is that source, God, or whatever you want to call that in which we move and breathe and live and have our being, is that which is having these experiences through us and in us. And if we could just take hold of that and understand that whatever desire you have or what you seek is seeking you. It's the divine within you seeking to have that experience. And if we can just let go and let things flow the way they are going to flow and become unattached to the outcome.
Okay, you know what? The best teacher, you can't teach what you have not experienced. I'm talking about me. Mm-hmm. I couldn't talk about this topic if I hadn't experienced it. I'd be coming from my mind and some book. The best teacher is that person that has experienced it. They make the best teachers.
That is true. I wanna comment on something Miss P said, because that the fact that God source, however way you want the divine, is experiencing life through each and every one of us. I've been repeatedly having this conversation, and of course, people are programmed not to believe that and to understand that. And of course, we know that's by design, because if they everyone really truly knew divinity lies within all. And that's what's keeping people as well as well from their manifestation. First of all, people out the gate are being told that they're born sinners. You're born in sin. You're shaping in iniquity. You sinner. So they're already being put in a mindset that they're unworthy. And so that a lot of times I think blocks the action of the manifestation process as well, because they don't understand that God really is in them. Any comments on that? And I want to read this comment in the chat. Miss P, Miss Sylvia.
No,
I'm gonna try to get in touch with Van.
He's not coming back. He's not coming back.
Oh, okay.
He can't. Okay, so let me read this. Thank you, Jamal. You cannot give what you don't have is a basic principle of Mayat.
That's right. And what is the principle of Mayat? What are the principles of Mayat? You got to know that. You know.
Do anybody know that principle?
The principle of Mayat, everything is you do is through truth, justice, and righteousness.
Welcome back. Everything you do is through true justice and righteousness.
Yeah.
That's the principle. Okay. See, this is what this is about. I had not heard that term before. So thank you for bringing that to the table, Jamal. Mr. Van Dorn.
Oh, I just want to piggyback on that. Those qualities are exhibited by people who are a service to others. Okay? You have two different types of humans. One is service to self and one is service to other. So those qualities that were just spoken are exhibited by individuals who are of service to other. Okay? The service to self, everybody knows that's about what can I take from you today or tomorrow or yesterday. You know what I mean? So, and it's very simple. You have two different types of humans that are walking the planet. Yeah.
That is true. That is true. I like that. And let me see. Okay, so there you go. Source is experiencing through this temporary identity called me. That is the only meaning. That is the meaning of the is only one. We are many expressions of the one. And I don't want to say your name wrong. I'm going to try Lumaria or Lumeria. I love that. Thank you for that. Because that's what people, if people really know their identity, that God is experiencing life through each and every one of us, they would, like the word that you just used, Mr. Van Dorn, they would serve better, because we're all here to serve each other. We're all here to create a life that is full of love and peace and joy and happiness. And those, what I like to call powers that be, have done a banged up job to keeping people from their identity.
And that first law in the book that Sylvia showed first is the law of oneness.
Yes.
We are one with everything.
One with everything.
But we've been taught that we're separate from everything. One race separate from the other, one gender separate from the other. You think of it, and we've been taught we're separate from it.
And you taught everything, the power is outside of yourself when the true power is within you.
Mm-hmm. Van Dorn is.
There is another law called the law of opposites. So we do have polarity.
Polarity.
Mm-hmm. When we wake up in the dream and acknowledge the fact that we have polarity, then we can stop having judgments against what we witness and find more power to take actions in such a way that we contribute to what I call the awakening of others. Okay. Once again, service to others. We have to get out of that polarized thinking, holding judgments against experiences and what have you, to be able to serve. At least that's the way it looks to me. I don't know any other way to configure my relationship to life other than let go of the judgments against experience. I can get on with service to humankind.
No, I agree. I've heard that multiple times before, It's not about judgment, and that seems to be a problem with I'm trying to say this politically correctly but sometimes you just got to call it what it is, with the way that the Bible is being taught, because the Bible, I mean, a lot of people, and I'm not even saying the Bible is being taught that way, but it's being translated that way, whereas a lot of people find themselves being very judgmental, which if the scripture says judge not that you be not judged, I still have a problem with the fact that people do operate in such judgment, whereas go ahead.
It's okay. Some people can take this to the bank. God's boomerang works. Okay. So what you send out, it comes back to you. So, most people are not paying attention to what they send out. And we have an eternity for whatever we send out to come back to us. Okay. So, I'm just going to put it that way. Instead of talking about it a different way, we have an eternity for what we send out to come back to us. So, anyway.
And you know what, even to that point, I've been listening to people who've had near unalive experiences, NDEs. Yes. And a common theme about that most of them experience is that when they kind of do that life review that we all will go through, experiences that they have done to like hurt or harm or cause another person to feel bad, they go through those feelings to see how that person felt. And so my whole thing is if you know that even in eternity, you're going to feel what you did to somebody else, wouldn't you want to operate more in love? Wouldn't you want to operate more in service and kindness and being our brothers and sisters keepers? I mean, that's just the thought that has crossed my mind. Any comments on that?
A lot of people don't know that.
I know, but that's what it's. Go ahead, Mr. Van Dorn.
No, it's okay that a lot of people don't know that. See, right. The thing is, when I say we have an eternity to figure it out, I'm speaking from personal experience, not from what someone told me. Okay, so for those on the call tonight, I make that statement. I'm speaking from personal experience, not what I read, not what I was told, from what I remember. Okay. So I said God's boomerang work. I didn't say it works like a charm, but that's just poetry. That's street poetry. God's boomerang works like the charm that it was designed to be. What you send out comes back. So it doesn't matter when it happens. It's going to happen. And so there are ways to modify the effects of that return, but it's coming, whether we like it or not. And so, a lot of people say, look what life served me. No, look what came back to you. I won't say anymore.
And pretty much what you created, because you created that reality.
Yeah.
Now, he's a glowing example of that formula: concentrated thought plus action equals manifestation. He's seated in his studio. Mm-hmm. He's very modest. He has beautiful creations in various institutions. That was his intention. And if you look at that studio and look at his work, that was his intention. He got busy, and now look. I said I was going to show this. This is one of his, the sacred geometry, one of my favorites.
Can you explain it?
What I'm saying, I'm making an example of. He had an intention to do this, Now it is in flourishing. It would take a month of Sundays to explain sacred geometry,
Yes.
Okay.
but I'm just giving an example of what is his intention.
Yes, thank you. I would like to say one thing about what Sister Sylvia is flashing on the screen. The old saying, "A picture's worth 1,000 words."
Mhm.
It really is that. And so there's a book that I read when I was a kid. I was maybe 16 or 17. It's called Subliminal Seduction. And what subliminal seduction speaks about is human misbehaving, where individuals have figured out how to seed thoughts into people's subconscious minds. And that seeding of those thoughts in people's subconscious minds ends up becoming the story that people are living. The flip side of that, the reverse of that, is when you put beauty in front of people, it has an effect upon them. Now, people have been looking at my work for decades, and I've had people tell me 30, 40 years ago, I never saw an abstraction that spoke to me the way your work speaks to me. I understood what they were saying. I've been on this trajectory all of my life, knowing intuitively that what I was creating was going to have a positive effect upon those who saw it. And I could spend a half an hour talking to you about people's stories. Sister Sylvia knows some of those stories. We were just talking about that yesterday. So anyway, so when you place something that is beautiful before an individual,
Mhm.
it's communicating something. It's having an effect upon them, not at the conscious level so much, but at the subconscious level. It's like music. You know, you have music that is uplifting and you have music that is degrading. So everybody has examples of that. So I don't have to bring any examples to the table.
Right.
So when you send out good energy, it has an effect. When you send out the opposite of that, it has an effect. So the question is, what are we choosing to do with our energy? What are we choosing to do with our attention? You know, this takes us back to a statement that I wanted to make, which is we're all first cause. It's just that 95% of us don't recognize that. And I do want to say what first cause is. It means that whatever actions that I put into motion, that's going to bring some type of result. So those who are unconscious of this law, this universal law, which is as you do, so shall you reap, doesn't matter whether they're unconscious of it or not. The fact is that it works. It's a universal law. And so a person can continue to do what some of us would say is producing undesirable results. And that's okay. Once again, we have an eternity to figure it out. And I'll stop there because I don't know how to say anything different from that. Okay.
Wow, no, that was good. That was good. Let me read this. All is self. The macro is the micro. University, aka the place to study that one essence is expressed in all various forms. Yes, and Mr. Van Dorn, thank you for that. And Mr. Van Dorn, incredible work to your art I mean to the geometry. That was the comment in the chat. All
Oh,
right,
well,
Miss Sylvia. Oh, go ahead.
just want to say, we use the term sacred geometry. What it is it's trying to serve as a reminder of the innate beauty in nature. Okay. So what sacred geometry is attempting to do is talk about this beautiful substructure in all that grows in nature. Everything that grows in nature has an innate beauty to it. And there are reasons for that. It is no incident, or it's not an accident, if I may, that what we see with our eyes is, for the most part, beautiful. Now, there are some people who are terrified at spiders and alligators and some other things, and I respect that. I wouldn't want to be hanging out with an alligator or a spider. Like keep my distance, keep some distance between myself and those types of creatures, if I may. But okay, well, let me stop there because I think I'm walking backwards momentarily. Please. So,
Well, we have to have another talk, if possible, where we just concentrate on the properties. What is, this geometry, how it works, and I think he would be one of the best ones to explain it. That would be that would be a good a good podcast for us.
yes.
But I want to finish up with important considerations. Number one, don't wait for the ideal moment to take action now. Number two, be willing to step outside of the box. Number three, focus on the final goal. No, not the outcome. Focus on the final goal. Number four, get out in nature. Staying inside can cause depression. Number five, read inspiring literature. Number six, watch inspiring films, not the noose, Noose, or news. Number seven, look for other people who have accomplished the inspired action because they'll be encouraging to you. Look for people that have put this principle into action and it worked. That's what I did. I stayed around people that had done these things all the time. Number eight, list of how, what does it say? List of how others have overcome the same. Oh, okay. Look at how others have overcome the same challenges that you may be facing right now. Look for people who've overcome these challenges. Be around the winners because you want to be a winner. Be around the winners. Yeah. And there's a scripture, Joshua 1:8, that I studied that says, study yourself. Basically, that's what it says. It doesn't say go to church every Sunday and listen to the preacher and then go home. Joshua 1:8, put that in the chat. It says study to show yourself approved, a workman. Yeah, that was the first thing my Bible teacher taught us in Bible study, and that was my sister. She made us memorize that scripture, Joshua 1:8.
Hold on, Miss Sylvia. Joshua 1:8.
And don't get AI.
No, because I really want to. Joshua 1:8 is keep the book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night. I think study to show yourself approved is in Timothy.
It's in the New Testament.
Well, Joshua 1:8 was the one she read that one again. That was the one she emphasized. But I would say
I was like, wait a minute now. Okay.
Read Joshua.
Joshua 1:8 is keep the book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. That's the NIV version.
And that means study day and night. Study.
Okay. There is a scripture that says study to show yourself approved.
Yeah. Well, we can do that one too. But this is the one I was talking about.
Okay.
It encouraged me when I saw that. It said, I got to do some work in order to get, I got to do some action in order to get some results. And that work was to study these principles and put them into action.
Yeah.
I love that. You know what? Oh my gosh, I'm loving what I'm seeing in the chat. So you can enlighten your karma, that cause and effect that we believe to be inevitable. However, if you learn from our karmic lessons, you season your karma, which is the whole purpose of karma. In other words, karma is not punishment, and it's not even something that's irreversible or ultimate. It's not. It is energy which can be transmitted. We are energetic alchemists. And yes, and someone followed up and agreed. that they would tune into your sacred geometry, and that we are alchemists indeed. And there's a book on that I started listening to, but I didn't finish it, on the alchemist. I heard that was a good book, because
Yes.
ultimately everything that we are talking about is energy. And that's what we have to understand. We have the power to use the energy and channel it towards anything that we desire. Like literally, the energy that created worlds is flowing within us, and that's how powerful we are. Like, but people have been dummied down on their power, and that's part of what I wanted to bring out in this conversation tonight as well. Know how powerful you are. Know what is the proverb to, in fact, I think we said it's written on one of the temples: to know thyself is to know God. If you really want to know God, know yourself.
Mhm.
I decrease. Anybody want to comment?
And if you really want to know who God is, put these principles that we learned here tonight into action.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bring it home.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we're getting ready to do. We're getting ready to bring it home. This was a really good talk. So what I'll have to do, Mr. Van Dorn, I will get with you and let's schedule a sacred geometry talk. I'm gonna have to move somebody because like I'm literally booked out to the summer, but I'm gonna squeeze you in somewhere. Because
He can
this
do
this
this. He can
huh?
take this one. He can do it on this podcast.
Okay, so next Wisdom Wednesday. Okay, so Mr. Van Dorn, if you can put that on your calendar, we want to have a talk. Because I know, like you guys, we've had a talk before, but like there's newcomers, there's new people. We're going into a new year, and we know in numerology 2026 is a new beginning, creation. This is the opportunity, and so it's important to set intentions, and it's important to set actions, and it's important to take actions on those intentions. And I also believe it's important to protect ourselves, and I feel from some of the studying that I'm finding out about the geometry, finding out about the crystals and things like that. Those are things that are like things that can help protect us.
There's one true protection. The ultimate protection is a four-letter word, LOVE. And that
Yes.
means if you know how to love yourself
Mhm.
and stay in that place, that's all the protection you need.
Mhm.
Because
I agree.
all you can do when you're loving yourself is to be a vessel for the light of God to pour through you, or the light of consciousness, however you want to think about the ultimate expression of awareness. Uh, doesn't matter what name we use, the word source. There are many names for it, but if you can find your way to love, as in self-love, that is
Mhm.
the protection. No harm can come to one. In fact, there are many people on this call that are quite aware of the fact that no harm can come to one unless one invites it in to their sphere by way of a thought. So, whether it's a bully or an armored tank, no harm can come to us if we stand
In love.
in love, okay? Or stand in love or with love, however you want to speak about it. Yeah. So that is the force that answers the call, right? Yeah. Anyway.
I love this. I love how I say this all the time. The universe is always listening, because that is exactly what I literally just preached this morning. The
Yeah.
importance of love. And then I see the chat, and this is one of the scriptures I quoted this morning: "Be still and know that
Yeah.
you are God."
Mhm.
We can study, but direct experience with I am presence is in the stillness.
Mhm.
And I quoted that scripture, but I love how you added that other stuff, because at the end of the day, that is true. Like Mr. Van Doren, you said you spent a lot of time in quiet over the
Yeah.
holidays, as did I, because I want to be connected, and nature, like Miss Sylvia, I heard you say that. And look, I haven't even called you abuela tonight. Abuela. I was taking this talk real serious. Like I've been super serious because I know the value in this conversation. So yeah, I wasn't as lax tonight because this was a serious talk, because it's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to wake up. It's time to know that you can have what you desire. Just know it. Stand firm on it. Believe, know, and operate in love. Operate in. Go ahead, Mr. Van Dorn.
Every time I hear that word believe, what comes to mind is to be living it. So for me, the word believe can be translated to be living it. Okay. So for me, that's the greater truth. And because there's a lot of hidden meaning inside of words. Sister Penelope broke one down for us earlier tonight. We study the etymology of words, and we find ourselves saying, "Oh, that's amazing! I didn't know that." Yeah, like the term adios. When I say the word adios, I don't mean goodbye. I mean I give you to God. Okay. So there are a gazillion Spanish-speaking people that do not know the original meaning of adios, which is I give you to God. Okay. Means to, and Dios means God. Okay. So anyway, and there are thousands of words that we speak, and we don't have a clue as to where these words are originated and what they mean. Like I don't use the word release, because for me, release means to lease again. Woo. So all of these people with these powerful affirmations that they're using, when I have someone talk about release, I say to myself, I let go. I'm not releasing anything. Yeah, because for me, that's subliminal seduction. But we we're not going to get off on that tangent. But anyway, yeah, we have some letting go of misconceptions to do. Lots of letting go and relaxing into the place of surrender, so that inner light can shine through us, shine a light on our paths, and then consequently shine a light on other people's paths.
I love it. I love it. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get final words, but I listen, chat, I am loving you guys. Thank you so much. Let's see. Love is all there is. Love is the divine power of attraction that harmonizes, united, and bonds all. Quote from Yogananda. Oh, I've been listening more and more about Yogananda. Much like the universe, our bodies, minds, etc. are all listening to us as well. Speak love into all aspects. Love is the ultimate connector. Yes, it is. And then finally, be living perfect. Adios. I love it. Oh my gosh. Great stuff. Great stuff. That is a keeper. That's a keeper. Guys, I love this talk. Thank you so much for this. I feel so. Listen, you getting ready to start 2026. Set the intention. Spend time in quiet with self and God, universe, and follow the action. Follow the inspired action. I hope you guys took notes from this and you put it into action, because again, faith without works is, you got to put this stuff in action. Miss P, any final words for the people this evening as we bring this to a close?
First to me and the people, and that is for me, do not be attached to how your desire will manifest itself.
Amen. I love that. That is true. Because remember, it can come better or different, not the way you expect. Because a lot of times people have, I expect it to come manifest this way, when the universe, God, source, however way you want to call it, could have something better lined up. So just keep that in mind. Give it out there and let it go. Miss Sylvia.
Never, never, never give up. Adios.
Mr. Van Dorn, your final words.
Oh, I had some 3 minutes ago, but I thought we were gonna let me have whatever I said earlier as my final words.
Oh,
But,
okay.
oh no,
Okay.
here it is. Here it is. I was on a podcast last year, and my words to the audience were, "You are the power." So that doesn't mean that your ego, but when I say you, I'm talking about your higher self or God working through us. Okay, because the separation wants to be. How do we say this? The separation wants to be dissolved. Okay, between self and God. Okay, so be still and know. So yes, you are the power. Yeah,
Period.
surrender. Yeah,
Drop the mic. You are the power. Walk
you are
away
the
with that. No weed. No. Yes, truly, we appreciate you too, official Mayday Glow. Thank you. Much love and gratitude to you. So listen, it as we end this conversation, I just want to say to you all, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. For those who don't know me, I am Tammi B. I am a coach, a spiritual mentor, and transformational speaker. It's a new year. It's time for a new you. If you want to invest in your mental health or work on some things to move forward in life, my website is www.thassawoman.com. That will direct you to my coaching website, and you're invited to schedule a coaching session with me so I could work with you one-on-one. So, with much love and gratitude, I thank each and every one of you. I thank my panel. Thank you so much, guys. You are so awesome. Mr. Van Dorn, Miss Sylvia, Miss Penelope. Miss Penelope, I know you are tired, so we definitely appreciate you for being here with us this evening.
Thank
And
Yeah.
so, to my viewers, again, thank you for joining. If you're not part of our community, I invite you to subscribe. Again, we are here weekly at 7:30 p.m. Eastern with new content. And I ask for the free 99, do us a favor, give us a like, share this video. There was some very valuable content that others can use and benefit from. So thank you so much to you all. And I'm going to leave you all with these final words. Next week we're gonna do a recap of 2025. I have the author of the book Why You Shouldn't Eat from Some White People by Rich Auntie Veronica Pearson. Actually, she's out of North Carolina, guys, out of Charlotte. She's going to be joining us, and we're going to talk about her book and take a look at 2025, which was one journey of a year. But we good. We got this. We gonna spread love to it and move forward. In closing, I leave you with this, which is a combination of 3 quotes. The Japanese proverb, vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. Highlighting that big goals need small, consistent steps. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. And another powerful one is Michael Jordan's. Some people want it to happen, some people wish it would happen, others make it happen. Emphasizing that you create your reality through deliberate actions, not just hoping. All right. Until the next time, everyone, stay amazing. Peace, love, and blessing.